From there, well, that's also why that's the mantra part of visual mantra, right? Like mantras being this. Actually, what is a mantra? Ryan, what's a mantra for you?
Yeah, I mean, when I think of the word mantra, obviously it's a vocal thing. I think that's where my mind goes first, and
Okay.
something that you use as a tool to connect to yourself and connect to spirit and to stay connected to spirit. Something that you repeat over and over and over again. And I feel that that applies to your art directly. I mean, I love that name because when you look at your art, that's what it's doing. It's something that's bringing you closer to spirit, and it's something that you can look at over and over and over again to bring you to spirit. And I really love I mean, I'm a big nerd for symmetry. If it was my way,
Yes.
all of my art would be symmetrical. I know that people get bored with that. I seem to never get bored with it. So,
And the
um,
sacred geometry vibe, yeah.
totally. Yeah. So, um, that would be mantra to me, and I really, I never really thought about, if you were to take the word mantra, which I know as a saying that you repeat over and over again to feel closer to spirit. If you were to, what does a visual mantra look like? And
Exactly.
yeah, that's great. I love it. I really love it.
Any other comments towards the word? I think, well, one, wow, actually, thank you. It was an amazing description
Marcelo's
of
going
a
to take
mantra.
notes. We need to pause the show so he can take notes on this.
Yes.
I was gonna say
Marcelo,
that's a
do
very
you?
great way of. I'm glad. I know. I just love the way Ryan put that into words because I would definitely agree with what you were saying and just adding on the vocal piece of whenever I think of mantra, which is why I'm so captivated by your visual aspect of it. And so the only thing I would add to what Ryan's saying is just connecting to that energy of spirit as well through the
Yes.
of expressing vocally.
Mantras is like healing reprogramming. If we think of
Mm-hmm.
like repeating something to like infuse it to the brain, to perspective, to change
Mm-hmm.
to heal perspective, really. Um,
Wow. Mm-hmm.
and on the visual part, the exploration of expansion, right? Like because you can say expansion, you can draw expansion, you know. You can say we are energy, you can draw we are energy, and to draw it is to explore it in a flow state, to experience it in meditation, and then, well, and it's either like at the same time or after or whatever, but to go deep into it, to express, to visualize something that it's in the mind, that it's not in the physicality, that it's not like, oh yeah, I can like rip apart my head and like see the light coming through it with an eye, but to represent it in this like mythical form. A myth is amazing for that. And Ryan, thank you for recommending Living Myth.
Hmm.
Michael Mead, shout
Yeah.
out. Which in this case is more like it's it's taking the concept of myth and making it our own. I think that's also important to take what inspires us, and not like, instead of copying it, instead of like imitating it, make it your own. Like explore it, express it, in your own words, in your own visuals, in your own expression. And I feel that's a pretty beautiful part of of self discovery. Um, does that cover your point about like visual material?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I was going to just add to that. The mystics use symbolic language, right? One of the main differences between religious institution and spiritual mystics is that religious institutions use literal doctrine. They use the letter of the word, and that's the rule of the law. and you obey that, you
Yes.
damn heathen. And that's how you find the truth. And the mystics say, no, there's no way to represent this unless we use symbols. We're going to use
Exactly.
symbolic language or poetry or mantra
Art.
or art, right? And
Yes.
so, in a very real sense, that's what you're doing, is you're using symbols visually to get across these concepts and get across
Yes.
these ideas when you're in that state.
To point to the
To
truth.
point to it.
Because that's
Here.
the only thing we can do, to point.
That's right. Just a finger pointing at the moon, baby.
Yes, it's like it's throwing like, okay, this is what I'm trying to say, knowing that the drawing is still something that's thought. That's actually I want to talk about thought in general, like later on, because that's transcending thought. In transcending thought, it becomes a just giant infinite liberation.